Welcome to Revive and Rise. I'm your host, Melody Parrish, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk in the month of May about suicide. Suicide's a very important topic that gets little to no attention and recognition. It's very difficult to talk about suicide because most people don't understand even when it happens or don't understand how it could happen. So I want to talk to you a little bit. I'll share some statistics about suicide and then share my experiences that I've had with suicidal ideation. And it's very important for us to talk about this, especially at this time when resources to suicidal ideation is threatened. So here we go with the statistics. Over 49,000 people have taken their life by suicide every year. That's an increase of 30% over the last 2 decades. One person every 11 minutes in this country commits suicide. It's roughly 4,000 persons per month. Males are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than females. And in the age group of 15 to 29-year-olds, suicide is the third leading cause of death. 12.8 million people in this country have serious thoughts of suicide. 3.7 million people in this country have planned suicide. And 1.5 million people in this country have attempted suicide. Those statistics are very staggering. And as I was researching and looking up these statistics and comparing them, both from the World Health Organization and the CDC and other data analysis resources, I was shocked. I was shocked that so many times this is thought of, but that there are so many of us out there that think about it seriously, plan it, attempt it, and so sadly so many people succeed. Suicide is thought by many people, it's claimed to be a selfish act. Somebody is only thinking of themselves. But in reality, it's a sign of pain. It's a sign of deep pain. And the only way that the person sees to get out of this pain is to take their own life. Sometimes people even think that by taking their own life, they prevent a problem or save someone from a problem. I'm 44 years old, and I have been having suicidal ideation since I was a child. I have always thought that I was small, unimportant, and a problem. And that was a lesson that was fed to me when I was younger and continued throughout my adulthood. For various reasons, I had these ideas and thoughts. When I was a teenager, I had my difficult health situation with being unable to walk. And that kind of further cemented those ideas. And then when I was in college, I was in a severe car accident where I had a traumatic brain injury. And that furthered those ideas. It confirmed it. I was a problem, and the only solution was to get rid of the problem. And then recently, I developed PTSD. And that really changed my mental state. And it was at that point that I've always seen myself as a problem, but now I felt like I needed to save everyone around me from the problem. When I was younger, in my teenage and young adult years, I began to see myself as an object, not a human being. I was at my time when I was um, unable to move properly. I was moved around without asking. I was made to do things when it was convenient for others, but not necessarily me. I wasn't asked my emotions or or how I was dealing with things, and it was like I was just there. It was like I was just existing. And so this confirmed the fact that I thought of myself as an object. And I felt like the object was causing problems. It seemed that I was always the source of pain. And what better reason or way to get rid of the problem than to just stop it from existing? And it was at this point that I thought constantly about ending my life and how I would do that. How am I going to end my life and get rid of the problem? And not just that, but how am I going to stop this pain that I'm feeling? I don't want this pain that I'm feeling, and I can't talk about this pain that I'm feeling. So I just want to end it. There's no other way. I frequently thought about it, constantly. And there was always these small little thoughts, like whispers, that would tell me, just go ahead and do it this way. Just go ahead and do it that way. And I lived with those whispers in my mind for the majority of my life. Those whispers would come. They would try and influence me to do things to myself. And most of the time I would pause and think and seriously contemplate it. It's hard for me to admit that, And I have to say, most people around me would have never thought that I was that way. Um, I was very good at masking myself and my emotions, and it yeah, I would say that 99.9% of the people around me would never ever have guessed that. And that's why most people, when it happens, it's either you expected it or you had no idea. It's never kind of the in between. It's either one extreme or the other. I personally um, never wanted to tell anybody or show that side of me, because if I did want to do it, I didn't want anybody to stop me. And then as I got as I began to develop the PTSD, my mind twisted those things into I was such a burden and such a stressor and such a problem for people that I needed to save them. I needed to save people from me and those that I loved that were around me. And it wasn't just that. I began to think that my actions would hurt people, and then it became just my presence around somebody would hurt them. And as I secluded myself more and more, I had that idea grow deeper. That idea grew deeper and deeper and deeper in me, to the point where I at least had the the knowledge that stayed if I stayed by myself for too long, that that was going to happen, and because I would just go down this deep dark spiral, and I knew it was bad. I knew the end result would be bad. That's what I wanted, but there was something in me that still wanted to live, and I can't explain what it is. There was a little something in me that still wanted to live and would try to save me from doing what I wanted to do. And I just think a lot about that pain. Um, now, fortunately, I I still think about it. I still have these ideas. But fortunately, I've been going to a therapist, and my therapist has really helped me uh, to develop ideas and strategies to combat these thoughts, to pause and to think, and to try and get myself out of that spiral. It always works. Sometimes it takes a little longer. And sometimes I just have to sit in that feeling and just know that it will pass. Emotions do pass if we just feel them and let them pass. But I think about this pain and what's happening right now. At this moment, there are so many mental health resources that are being cut, that are disappearing, that are not being allowed to be offered. And it really concerns me that suicide is being attacked. You know, the suicide hotline is such a wonderful resource, not just for people contemplating suicide, but it contains a lot of information about other resources that can help you, that can get to the root problem of why you are contemplating these dark decisions. Because it's not, there's a reason why you are thinking about this. There's a reason why you're contemplating doing these things, and calling the suicide hotline, just talking to somebody, just getting connected with counselors or other resources that can help you is so important. And when that resource is cut, detrimental things will happen. Our mental health is so important, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We need to really start thinking about our mental health, our feelings, our emotions, what we're thinking. You know, I grew up in a time where people didn't talk too much about their emotions. And now I look at things and it is so much better. People are so much more open to these things. I think people are beginning to realize how important it is to talk about your emotions, to talk through your emotions, because emotions lead to reaction. Emotions lead to actions. We can't control our emotions. We can't control what happens with our emotions and why we feel the way we feel. But you can always control the reaction to that emotion. We just need to stop and we need to ask, why am I feeling anger? Why am I feeling pain? Why am I feeling joy? What is making me feel this way? And then we need to make the decision of the reaction that we're going to have. That's the power of the pause. The pause helps you to think about the emotion and understand where it's coming from. And the pause can affect the reaction you have. And we need to learn how to do that. It's not always easy. A lot of times it's difficult and you can't do it every time. But you can learn. And I feel like if these resources get cut, then we're not going to have access to strategies or abilities or ways to learn how to do those kinds of things. Not everyone can pay for mental health care. Not everyone can pay for those services. So we need services for those people that are less fortunate, those people that are existing in poverty, those people that have so many struggles, but they either can't afford, or they're too ashamed, or there are countless reasons why someone would not seek help. But we need the resources that make it available if they decide to. So I just want to thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps to know that that there are others out there that are feeling very similar to you. You're not alone. And thank you so much for listening. Throughout this month, I'm going to speak to experts in various degrees of suicidal ideation and the thoughts and expertise on different topics within suicide. Together, we're going to offer many, many resources, strategies, and techniques to help other people that are going through this. And my hope is that these techniques will somehow help you in the present time and inspire you to get more help in the future. You do not have to suffer alone. Just remember,